Good morning, boys and girls. Have you ever wondered where your food comes from? We always remember that whatever we have, we can always trace it back to God ultimately. But also, somewhere along the way, um, we will find out exactly what journey our food takes before it makes it into our own kitchens. Okay, so our chapter today for social studies is From Field to Market. Okay, so do you know how a bunch of grapes becomes the box of raisins in your lunch? We're going to find out. So, from the vine to you, imagine large farms with row after row of grapevines. In spring, workers start watering the vines. A few months later, the grapes are ripe. That means they can be picked. Workers pick the grape bunches by hand and place them on clean paper trays. The grapes dry in the sun for 2 to 3 weeks. Slowly, they become what? I wonder if you can see these pictures here. So first they pick grapes and then they dry the grapes. And what do you think they become? They become raisins. Workers drive the raisins to the food processing plant. There the raisins are checked and cleaned. Machines take off the stems and package the raisins. Ships, trains, and trucks carry those packages of raisins across the country and around the world. Have you ever seen those really big trucks on the highway? They're really, really big semi trucks. Yes, many of those carry the foods that go into the markets or stores where you buy raisins and other kinds of foods. Stores sell raisins to you. It takes many steps to get a box of raisins from a bunch of grapes. So here, they're cleaning raisins. Can you see that? And in picture number 2, can you see them sorting the raisins with their giant machine? At the end here, she's boxing the raisins. So when do grapes become raisins? That's correct, when the grapes dry. Okay. Now, 3 kinds of resources. Raisin producers in California depend on California's warm weather and natural resources. Producers need sunny days, good soil, and water. Raisin producers also need human resources. Human resources are people. They are the farm workers who care for the vines. They are the people who operate machines, sell raisins, and run the business. Of course, you couldn't get those raisins unless you had people to work to get them in the boxes, to get them sorted, to get them cleaned, to get them shipped across the country or put into stores. So you need to have those human resources. Now remember, back here we mentioned natural resources. Remember, natural resources are those resources that we have from the earth and from nature that God has given us. Things like sun, soil, and water. Raisins and grapes need the sun soil and water in order to grow. It's very important. So, raisin producers need a third kind of resource. They need capital resources. Capital resources are things such as tools, machinery, buildings, and trucks. So basically, capital resources are the things that you need in order to produce or to make a product. Here we're talking about grapes, so all the tools you need to produce grapes. They could be trucks, machines, buildings. So the buildings where raisins are sorted and cleaned are capital resources. So are the machines that take the stems off the raisins. Producers of raisins and other goods use all three kinds of resources. So here is an example of human resources. Farm workers, salespeople, and machine operators. Those are three examples of human resources. Now, natural resources are things like soil and water. They're things that occur naturally. And examples of capital resources are things like machines, trucks, and tools that they need to be able to produce these things. So they need human resources, natural resources, and capital resources in order to produce raisins. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about a big word. It's scarcity. The three kinds of resources are all limited. That means that there is a certain amount and you can run out of it. The earth has only so many human, natural, and capital resources. However, people have unlimited wants for goods and services. That is why there is scarcity. Scarcity means we don't have enough resources to produce all the goods and services we want. So some farmers choose to use their land to grow grapes. See this here? Can you see that they're using natural resources? What natural resources here? They're using water. Very good. And some farmers choose to use their land for growing vegetables. Can you see the capital resources they're using here? They're using buildings and storage. So let's talk a little bit more about scarcity. Because we can't have all that we want, we have to make choices about what to make or grow. In some parts of California, water is scarce. That means there isn't much water. So farmers make choices about the crops they grow based on the amount of water the crop needs. Now, why do people have to make choices about what they want to make or grow? Because we only have so many resources. And because there is a thing called scarcity. Also, another thing that we have talked a little bit about in the Bible is that it's not good to be greedy. And oftentimes, sometimes people could become greedy. And so it's important to be grateful for what we have and to be thankful for what we have and to thank God for what we have because he is the one who has given us all these things. Okay, so I'll talk to you later and I hope you have a good day.